What the heck?
What an idiot. I have control over his mute button.
All right, so number one, I just wanted to start it off with that clip, and we're going to go into the next clip that is going to show that this person seemingly sounds very similar to the person in the clip that you are about to hear. And this is going to have a further impact on the content after when we go and visit the live stream again to a black male that is going to appear and that's going to have a conversation. And I want people to listen and pay attention to how both women have a conversation. Look at the body reactions, look at the eye rolls, the body position, look at how they interrupt him continuously and how they disrespect him, no matter how respectful that he is being, no matter how much grace is being given, and how he is not really giving a response or giving in to the type of disrespect that you're going to see. And I also want to note that this is a part of a longer live stream, which I covered. Again, this was about like a 30-minute clip. So if you are interested, you can go back to the live stream and watch it and look at a lot of the information that is directly there.
I was wondering why no one thought to say and voice their opinion that when I look at these white men, they are the epitome of masculine, and watching some of these police officers manhandle these black men in the street is very attractive, and it's a turn on, you know? And I'm wondering, does anybody else feel like that?
Hold on.
Yes, Lord.
Y'all off the chain, okay? Y'all are off the proverbial chain.
That's Discord talk.
I'm telling
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yeah, that's Discord talk.
I was like, why has nobody said that? You know, because I'm like, that's masculine. You talk about masculine.
We say that all the time in Discord, Tanasia.
You say that for the back.
Yeah, you have to save that one for the back room when we got the door closed. I can't with y'all.
We use the hard R for long.
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about, we say the hard R so hard, it sounds like we growling back there around this bitch.
Oh, Tanasia, you got to come back there with us.
And I just let you talk because, you know, it just shows how men are the problem.
Like, you know, like, what was that song?
You're an embarrassment.
Like, yeah, no, that was sad. I'm sad.
You should be embarrassed.
Someone said his bio says 38. Is this really what you all in your late 30s do? Like this. So wait, he's 38. The last guy was 40 something. The other guy 41. Was 30 something. Like, is this what? 39. Yeah, is this what we're doing? Now? Is this what we're doing now?
I mean, this is the prompt. Like, that is the point of the prompt. Like, to get up here as a whole 38-year-old. That's
kind of scary. I ain't gonna lie. But how are you doing? Nice to meet you.
Okay, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. All right. So I kind of agree. I don't. I'm 29 now. 29. Okay. Yeah. So I agree with you. Sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say I agree.
You're on teacups. Okay, go ahead.
All right, cool. I was gonna say, yeah, the same way we commit the most like crimes and atrocities, it's to other men. So it's like, how does that really affect you if majority of the crime is to other men?
I'm not saying like, well, one, crime is wrong. Two, men also unalive other women, like other unalive women. They harm children, they harm animals, they harm the planet. So I don't know why it's okay for men to harm other men. Like, why is that like an acceptable form of violence or crime, or, you know, because that's terrible. Like, men attacking and hurting each other is not okay.
Right. And I agree with that. Yeah, men shouldn't attack other men, but like we're raised as soldiers, so we like expected. Yeah. So being raised as like you're not raised to not be a soldier. Yeah, I'm telling you, as a man, you guys haven't been raised as a man in America, but as a man growing up, let me finish, please. As a man in America, you raised as a soldier mentality. Yeah.
Okay.
So boom, let me just finish, please. Right. I'll let you guys finish. Can I finish?
No, because that's ridiculous.
No limit soldier.
If you let me finish my sentence, you'll actually be able to hear the context.
I know the context because this is not the first.
You don't know what I'm gonna. What was I gonna? Nah. Well, yeah. Anyway, so boom.
He said, "I am
So
on the
he's a
battlefield for
soldier.
my Lord."
So you said, "Oh, men attack
And
women and children." When you sing while I'm talking, that's crazy. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
if you
because
want
you're being
respect, you have to give
ridiculous. You
respect,
guys
right?
were raised as soldiers. Y'all barely know your fathers. Nobody's raising you as soldiers.
Oh no, I know my father. My mom and dad were married. You know, they still are actually. But
I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about a lot of men.
The
their
thing
fathers.
that's
yeah, you're right.
frustrating about that. The thing that's frustrating about that is when men say things like that. A soldier is a job. They're like men actually, if men were raised as soldiers, they would not need to go to boot camp if they actually enlist in the military. They would not need to be trained because
That's
they would have already,
imperialism.
I'm still speaking, because they would have already been trained to be a soldier. Like if boys are going through training to become soldiers, then they would not need to ever have to go through like the police academy, to go like through any type of training like a Quantico for the FBI. I mean, like they'd already know most of it. Like maybe they need specialty training for a specific job or function, but they wouldn't actually have to do most things. And then women who are in those fields would need much more training because they were not trained as soldiers.
Right. That's a good point.
So that's why it's like when you guys say stuff like that, like it's kind of like, what are you talking about? Because that's not true. I'm not saying that boys aren't taught to like repress their feelings and fight over like, turn verbal arguments into physical altercations to settle disputes, or they're told to be more rough and toughen up, suck it up, don't cry, like all of that stupid stuff. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. That is not a soldier. That's like somebody who's been taught to repress their emotions that then causes other problems later down the line because that's not healthy. But a soldier is something different.
Yeah. No, that makes a really good point. I never really thought about it like that. It's want to be all soft and stuff, and then like you have other men that's attacking you like on a regular. So you just it builds like your character, like or what you deal with every day. But at the same time, like I also know a lot of good men they don't let nothing happen to women and kids, or they won't even like that's not fair game. That's never been fair game, women and kids. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen though either. So you gave me some things to look up later. I'll definitely do my research.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming out.
No, thank you. Peace.
That was the most normal interaction today.
Can I just really quickly, Joe and Angela, so guys, if you guys could do me a favor, we're into the 200s with people here. Keep liking the live. It really does help, and it helps get more people in the room, people that have different viewpoints, and it makes the conversation really interesting. So if you could please like the live, it really helps if you do it in like 20 to 30 second bursts. Just tap, 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 tap. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything to do it, and it really does help. Another thing that you can do is the algorithm really likes emojis. So if you want to put emojis in the chat, that helps. You can also put FYP or hashtag FYP. The algorithm likes that as well, and it does send it out to more people, which is really helpful when we're trying to have diverse points of view.
Now I want to give a shout out to that young man that pulled up there. I think he said he was 28 or 29. And again, he's talking to older women, and older women are normally stated to be wiser, to know better, to, be logical for, all intents and purposes. But both of these older women, who are obviously older than him, decided that they wanted to be disrespectful. They wanted to interject. They wanted to stop him on speaking. The main host wanted to state, when he was originally trying to make his statement about being raised as a soldier, he didn't mean it in the sense of, hey, I'm in the military. Hey, I'm a police officer. Hey, I'm a part of the FBI. I have all of the greatest training of the training of the training of the training. And she tried to move the goalpost. And there were men in the comment sections during the live stream that stated that even if you are trained as a soldier, let's say military, when you go into these other avenues, they still have their own physical training or whatever training that they have that you still have to take. That's going to be placed on top of what it is, whatever knowledge that you already have. So for her to basically state that, oh, if you black men were already raised as soldiers, then you know X, Y, Z, and all this you wouldn't need. You could just easily go into those fields. Have nothing to do with what it is he's talking about. He's talking about specifically being there, noticing something, protecting the women in the family, protecting his girlfriend, his wife, his daughter, his aunt, women of the community. That's what he's specifically talking about. He's not talking about some wartime soldier, World War II, Captain America. He's not talking about none of that. But she wanted to basically state or allude to, oh, I already know what you're going to say. I already know what your point is going to be. But you don't. You just don't want to hear him talk. And the other thing that I could have potentially highlighted was the fact that within the 30 minutes that we covered from the live stream, there were about 2 to 3 white male commentators who came there and wanted to have a conversation with the host. But while that conversation was happening, no matter how abrasive or caustic they were, no matter how disrespectful and rude they were directly to this host, she showed, oh, so much, oh, you know, sir, you really shouldn't do that. We don't really say that here. It was all of this light type of tone. There was no attitude. There was none of this, oh, I'm going to roll my eyes. I'm going to be as assertive as possible. I'm going to be I'm going to dominate this conversation. I'm going to really tell you specifically what it is. When it dealt with white men pulling up to that platform and being disrespectful to these black women, they had zero. They had very little to, in a sense, say. And if they did say something, they said it in such a meek and humble type of voice. When there are black males directly there, right, as this black male that you were able to hear, it's the utmost disrespect. You see all of the eye rolls. You see all of the attitude, right? You see all of, oh, I'm going to be ultra assertive. I'm going to tell you specifically what it is. I'm going to automatically cut you off. I'm going to tell you that I know what you're going to say before you even sit up there and say, like, so again, why even have this conversation? Why even have the conversation if you supposedly know what somebody's going to sit up there and say, right? If you already have something that's pre-written, if you have something that's already scripted in your mind, that means that you're not looking for a conversation. And again, you had the moderator, and the host never checked the moderator. The moderator wanted to start chiming in for no reason, because again, the young man was never being disrespectful to any of the women there. She wanted to come in there talking about, oh, I'm a soldier for God, right? Both making fun of black men who are religious or, you know, of the church, right? Or have a certain type of moral high ground. And then on top of that, she wanted to, you know, make another comment and start, you know, singing and dancing and all this. I'm like, what are you doing? And then when the guy checked her, he was like, yo, it's crazy. Like, I'm trying to, you know, speak and say my point, and you're just up here, you know, singing and dancing, interrupting me. And she was like, well, yeah, this, that, and the third, and all these other types of things. And really, y'all don't even know who your fathers are. And I'm like, how do we get here? How do we get from this man trying to come here and have a productive conversation, see it from both sides, to now you trying to throw jabs and punches at him for no reason? And note again, he's a black male, not being disrespectful to black women, and you want to go into, you don't even know who your father is. So then once he came back, he was like, actually, I do know who my father is, because my father has been married to, you know, my mother for, you know, whatever amount of years and decades. Then her and the host was looking completely stupid. So then this is when the moderator came back. She was like, well, you know, I really wasn't actually talking. Actually, you were. You wanted to say that because he is a black male. You wanted to go off of some type of quote unquote statistics. But when it dealt with the white man that was being disrespectful to both of y'all on that platform, you wasn't trying to sit up there and bring up no stats. You wasn't trying to bring up any type of stereotypes. You weren't in that fight back mode. But when you got somebody here who is a black male that is not feeding into what your narrative is, and he's coming to you and talking to you as a human being, now you want to be disrespectful. Now you want to start throwing this, that, and the third directly at him. Now you want to start trying to antagonize him in order to have him act a certain type of way, because it's not feeding into the narrative that you have directly on your platform, and you don't know how to deal with a black male that is actually being positive and talking to you as a human being. So this is when the host then chimes in, and she decides that she wants to overlook all of that and then move the conversation somewhere else. Huh? What? And it's crazy that no matter how much grace was given by way of that black male, he still incurred all types of wrath, all types of disrespect in that whole conversation. Nobody apologized. Nobody said, I'm sorry that, we were, acting this type of way. It was none of that, because they're not going to apologize. They don't know what that is. Accountability, responsibility, and acknowledgement of the things that people happen to do. They don't know what any of that is. And even with all of that still happening, after that whole conversation of him trying to see it from both sides, he even automatically started off, because the part that I wanted to keep directly in there was the one where you were able to hear the moderator's voice, because there's a certain tone that she has. That's why I paired it up with the other video. And directly within that video, when the young man came in, you had him saying like, yeah, that was crazy how, that started. That was scary. And, I must agree. And when he said that, she had a certain look on her face that she was like, uh-oh, she's not going to be a part of the narrative. This isn't going to go the way that I wanted it to go. So from the beginning, she had her mind made up that she was going to try to curate this into what she wanted it to be. And she still couldn't do it. She could not control that situation, because she did not have any type of power directly over that guy, because he was in a logical mindset. He was nowhere near emotional. So no matter what they did, it didn't have any type of effect. He just blew directly past that and just kept it trucking and kept directly on to the point. So this is why you see the final point of the video where she was like, well, that was the most positive interaction that I've had. She don't know what to do with positive. A lot of them don't know what to do with anything positive at all. This is why even when he was about to leave, she still had an attitude and she was rolling her eyes. She was still trying to fix her mind and her mouth in a way to say something negative, and she still couldn't. She had an attitude in silence, which is ridiculous. And this is what a lot of guys be talking about out here, where you will receive a lot of this anger and this aggression for like no reason. But yet guys who are actually being disrespectful to these women, they don't have that type of energy. Magically, they're never on that type of time, especially when it's their preference. And that's wild to me. You don't really do anything to correct your preference and who it is that you say that you love and admire and who is really trying to go after you and marry you. But when it deals with a black man that's just trying to have a conversation with you as a human being, you got all of this. You should have had that at the very beginning when those 3 white dudes came up there disrespecting you, calling you weak directly to your face. When that white male called you weak, you had nothing to say. You were just looking directly at the screen. Well, sir, actually, you had the most subtle, you had the most feminine voice there. It was real light. You had no attitude, no high rolls, no nothing. But then again, like I said, a young black man pulls up to have a conversation, seeing it from both sides, agreeing with your points, and then adding his points as another layer on top of that, trying to make it a balanced conversation. It's a problem. We're going to start doing attitudes. We're going to start doing eye rolls. We're going to automatically start having disagreements, and we're going to interject. We're going to be disrespectful because we need you as a black man to prove our point that men are the problem. And he didn't. He didn't. And this is why at the end of that live stream, she couldn't do anything with that energy. She was deflated because she's used to chaos. She's used to negativity. She's used to like anything that you can basically deem as a negative coming directly from it. She's used to guys coming up there disagreeing and talking about how she looks physically. She's used to guys coming up there and just throwing all types of insinuations and other things. She feeds off of that negativity and that chaos. It's good, again, for the views, because the greater majority of the people that come directly to platforms like this when it deals with women are women, or those who see themselves in the same light or box as women. And when they can't get a man to specifically feed into the narrative, like, oh, he's dangerous, he's violent, he's criminal, he comes from a single parent household, he doesn't respect women, he hates black. When he can't feed into any of those negative narratives, they're lost. They're lost. And people wonder why it is that you have men out here that speak and say a variety of things. And I told people before, and I'll say it again directly as I've stated it in the live stream. Whenever, for guys out there whenever you have women that have platforms and they have, especially Black American men, when you see women and they have platforms like that, you go into those platforms with a logical mindset. You don't go in there with emotions. You go in there with the numbers. You go in there with stats. You go in there with things that completely make sense, because the moment in time that you go and feed into something emotionally, that's the moment in time that you are going to lose. And again, you're going to further feed directly into a negative stereotype and a negative narrative. So again, if you're not, as a male, if you are not logically equipped to handle those types of conversations in that type of environment, stay back. Every war and every battle is not meant for every single man to go directly into, right? Only those who are prepared should be the ones to go through that door. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.